In nature, there's no waste. Earth's major nutrients, carbon, nitrogen, water, have been recycled for millions of years. We use Earth's resources to make our stuff, our clothes, phones, computers. We turn rocks into metal, sand into glass, oil into plastic, and when we've finished with our stuff, we often dump it in land or sea, and it takes hundreds, if not thousands of years to decompose. By contrast, African, Mexican and Vietnamese artists in this Treasures from Trash exhibition have reclaimed waste tin, plastic and paper to make ornaments, cats, dogs, insects, toys, miniature cars and games, accessories, hats and bags and utensils, kettles, irons, watering cans and pots and pans.
Could you tell us a little bit about it, how it started?
Yeah, well, Seaford Environmental Alliance, which this is our building here, we got an offer from Neil and Ruth to host their exhibition, which they've been touring for about 15 years, which is all about reuse and recycling, upcycling. Basically, it demonstrates how people in the third world who don't have any recycling facilities manage to reuse the waste materials that they find lying around to create objects and useful things in their lives, to actually generate money, to actually have a livelihood, when often their livelihood has been taken away by climate change. Is that?
Yeah, can I get an object?
Go and show your object.
Faye's making for the recycled hats. There are baseball caps with logos like Coca-Cola and Sprite, and a beanie-style hat with beer logos.
I thought at first, when I saw this, I thought it was tin. I thought, oh my goodness, it's going to be tin, it's going to be reflecting all the heat. It's going to make your head very hot. But it's not, it's plastic. So this is Coca-Cola, and there'd be actually sheets of this plastic material for Coca-Cola to advertise Coca-Cola. But they make one small mistake. So because the small mistake was made, they were going to throw this plastic sheeting away. So otherwise, this would have just gone into landfill, I guess. But I just love these hats. And then I found these objects, and they've been made out of the metal that's been used for sardine cans.
Yes, they look like food or grain containers.
And I don't know whether you can see that, it's sort of nixie sardines. But this is the metal that would be used to produce the sardine tin. It's all made from waste, which is, you know, what we're all about. This is what we should be thinking, the way we should be thinking.
It's misprinted product, really, when they say, there's a blemish there, we can't have that. So the whole run goes until they correct it properly. Well, that's an awful lot of waste material, but that probably goes on in our processes, our industrial processes, all the time. We don't know about it. The things that we know about are the things that we take out to our recycling, which we don't perceive of as having any value anymore. But they are valuable. They're precious resources. Really, we need to be reusing the stuff we've already got. So we don't have to extract so much out of the ground or wherever, and all the processes that involves, which are energy rich and pollution rich, unfortunately.
Keith, you're a representative for Seaford Climate Hub and the United Nations Climate and Oceans, and that is some T-shirt.
The T-shirt, this is my public relations T-shirt. It's got climate justice at the heart of this. And then the radiating spokes, the sunflower, to include the voice of indigenous people, gender issues, social equity, just the whole spectrum that comes together. Hi, Lara, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Young people have such a voice and empowerment at the moment, and so you would be the first interview for our Youth Eco Storytellers, which is the positive story of change.
And it's an acronym for?
Yes!
Lara Haig, you've got quite an impressive title, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm a youth ambassador for the United Nations Association Climate and Oceans, which is a bit of a mouthful.
This exhibition is all about recycling. Why, in your opinion, is recycling important?
Well, the more you recycle, the less new products need to be made, the less new materials. So if we recycle the plastic we already have, that reduces the amount of crude oil mined out of the ground. I would make the point though that reusing is better than recycling in that it makes a smaller loop, you could call it, and therefore less waste is created.
Do you think we're going into a time that's a little bit similar to the war?
I've heard that comparison made, and I can definitely see where it's coming from, because, for example, my grandma recently found her old gas mask box, and it said on the container to reuse the cardboard. We have had one person join our webinars recently from Afghanistan, and we've learnt a lot about what they're facing there and how they're still persevering and trying to help the natural environment, which is just so awe-inspiring to hear that, to hear what these people are doing in such difficult situations. I just think it's so important to have the interaction with people from across different countries and to learn about their stories, because it sort of ties everything together. The more international representation you have, the bigger the picture and the more you can really do to link everything up. Well, I've been looking around the exhibition and this particular piece has really caught my attention. It's a tin can with a little bit of, I think it's cotton in the top as a wick, and they are filled up with kerosene in developing countries so that the children can do their homework and the parents can make objects to sell. It just really caught my attention because it's a point of comparison between our privileged position and the places where many of our recycled goods go to, because the people in these developing countries are having to use what we would consider rubbish in order to get their education. And of course, by using kerosene, that produces fumes, so by persevering with their education, these children are causing damage to themselves. So it just brings home that there are societal issues that we need to fix, and they do link to climate change, because sometimes our recycled goods end up in countries that don't have the economic ability to deal with them, so they end up sitting on the land, contaminating water, or being burnt, which releases harmful gases which can affect people's lungs in the area around. So it's just something that we need to be aware of when we're trying to do the right thing to really research what's actually happening.
Lara and Keith, you belong to the same United Nations organisation. Tell us how the connection started.
As an older person growing up, I'm really here now to do what I can for the legacy, for the next generation. And I think we've learned a bit about these recycled and upcycled lanterns, and so I sort of think of it as passing on the light of learning to the next generation.
Yeah, so I'm definitely very thankful for the introduction to the UNA Climate Nations, and I'm just making it my mission to do my best to keep on spreading the message and keep on spreading the light.
We're going to talk about plastics.
Yes. Well, I picked up this because it's just one little bit of this exhibition, but I loved it.
You've got a green plastic canister with a circle, a triangle, a square and a rectangle cut out of one of the sides.
There's a company called Mango Tree who are actually educating teachers in Uganda to be able to use objects like this to be able to create these educational toys for the children. So you've got something like as simple as that with the shapes cut out, and then you have the shape cut out again of material that's going to be recycled to be able to use it.
Oh, it's that toddler match the shape to the slot game.
It's just brilliant. I love it. So yeah, and that with the cars as well, the pull-along cars, just made out of a bottle that was obviously, again, oil from a car or something. Oil for a car, but turned into a car for the children to play with.
I took this idea of upcycling, recycling, and I made my own plastic wreath. And this wreath is for golfers. It's designed particularly for golfers. We've got the plastic lids off the bottle tops, but we've got the wiffle golf balls, and we've got green repair tools here, and there's a ball marker here, these little various stars here, pencils not made out of plastic, and plastic studs to replacement studs. So this was my effort to be creative with materials. I was doing a beach clean, and I was shocked and amazed by the nurdles, and I was also amazed that I hadn't heard about nurdles and didn't know what they were. A nurdle is pellets of raw fossil fuel plastic. So they're little beetles, the raw material that is shipped all around the world to make anything plastic. Nurdle hurdle. Have you heard the word? It makes me cry, it's so absurd. Like doodling a noodle through a needle. The wordle to hurdle is nurdle. Nurdles are pellets of raw fossil fuel plastic. Escaping manufacture, they make waterways toxic. Oodles of nurdles curdle the blood and boggle the brain, getting into the gut of the food chain. Oceanic nurdles girdle global shores, from the Arctic to the Azores. They pollute and persist for years and years, which is why they're called mermaids' tears. What can be done, you ask? It seems like a titanic task. We know where to start. We all can take part. Reduce consumption, reuse, recycle, make art. Clean the beaches, stop spills at source, refuse single use, go plastic free, of course. Represent, sign a petition, join the campaign. Nurdles are plainly a planetary pain. Time's up, game on, let's be blunt. Resist in the great nurdle hunt. Redesign and innovate with a flexible imagination. Filter nurdles with ferrofluid magnetic solutions. Home compostable biofilm does the trick. Microphone packaging is simply fantastic. So now you've heard about nurdles. It stinks, so don't be a terrible turd. Be a nautical nurture nature nerd. For people, birds, fish and turtles, together let's jump the nurdle hurdle.